Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to frighten you. What am I doing here on this beautiful late Sunday morning? Well, I felt obligated to pay my respects. You see, Friday was supposed to be my execution. Some people are famous. I'm infamous. Public enemy number one. That's what they called me. Some called me a murderer. Others just an insurrectionist. Actually, I'm just Rome telling me what to do. I was in prison with my people, three of us, scheduled to die. But not an ordinary death, but one that sends a message to anyone considering following after what I've done: crucifixion. You see, the Romans won't do it to one of their own, but they'll gladly do it to we Jews. It's a torturous act, but we're tough. We've put up with misery and pain and loss in every generation. I know I've disappointed my family, especially my father. One of the local teachers, a rabbi. But one thing I know for sure, he was so displeased when I was found guilty, then condemned. But now, a Nazarene took my place. We just finished the Passover, celebrating our freedom from Egypt over 1,300 years ago. It was an amazing time when every house that had the blood applied, death passed over it. And we still remember. Good memory. Some have said this Jesus of Nazareth was our Passover lamb this year. How? Maybe by my telling my miracle story, you would understand. It began on Friday. I was locked in my cell, convicted, condemned, doomed. I tried to ignore what seemed to be inevitable. All my hopes had been crushed. No one was coming to my rescue. From my cell, I heard the crowd assembling outside the Antonio fortress. It was going to be a sight. Crucifixion always draws a crowd. The crowd exploded in noise, and as I heard the court convene, I heard Pilate offering to pacify the crowd. You see, he was going to set a prisoner free. That's kind of our tradition. Sounded good to me, though I really doubted. I really doubted I would be the one. But this was to be an outrageous day, an unusual day. Good for me, terrible for the Nazarene. You see, the Sanhedrin had whipped the crowd into a frenzy. Raw emotion overtook them, and they wanted blood, and obviously they wanted this Nazarene to die. When I heard my name, it was like I'd been struck by lightning. Crucify him! Crucify him! I knew they were talking about me. I knew in a moment I would hear the guards come down the corridor to my cell. I knew I'd hear the key clank in the lock, and a soldier would stand before me. I could tell they were disgusted. They yanked me up and wrestled me down the hallway of this fortress, my eyes strained from darkness to light to see what was going on. I was just trying to get myself together. And then it happened. I couldn't believe my ears. Suddenly, surely I'd mistaken their words, but this is what they said. You're free to go. They chose the Nazarene to take your place. I must have stood there what seemed like an eternity until one of them smacked me and said, "Didn't you hear us? Go! Get out of here!" I'm not as dumb as I look. I dusted myself off, I straightened myself up, and I walked out of prison free. Free? How did this happen? How could the crowd choose a preacher over a predator, a rabbi over a really bad guy? It still doesn't make sense. So that's why I came to this tomb today. The least I could do is pay my respect to the one who took my place. Tried to come earlier, but I was confronted by a couple of soldiers running toward me. My mind flashed to the worst thing. I thought they'd realized what they had done was make a mistake, and they were coming to take me back to prison. I quickly stepped aside, and they just blew right by me. I still don't know what they saw that caused such seasoned soldiers to flee so fast. But here we are at the tomb where the Nazarene is buried, or was buried. You see, I met some women on the way into the garden. I overheard them say, "He's not here." I mean, do the dead get up and walk again? Doesn't that sound odd to you? He is not here. Were they talking about the gardener? The gravekeeper? No guards. Here's the huge stone that they left in a little odd place. It's out of place. Let me look inside. Hmm. Grave clothes, folded neatly, like someone who had gotten up from a fine dinner and folded their napkin. The women said, "He is risen as he said. We must go and tell his disciples. Surely this isn't the grave of the teacher, the miracle worker from Nazareth. Could it be that this one they call the King of the Jews is the very one who took my place? I've heard stories of his life. No, he was a good man. He raised the dead, he gave sight to the blind, he healed the lepers. He taught as no other. No, no way. Could it be that he is the long awaited Messiah? One thing I know for sure, I should have been on that cross, but the Nazarene took my place. Wow. Nothing can explain what has happened to me. Nothing. There must be. There must be more to this story. Now, who do you want me to release you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ? For he knew that they would hand him over because of envy. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife was saying, "Have nothing to do with that, for I have suffered in a dream because of him." But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said to them, "Who do you want me to release you?" They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, "What then shall I do with Jesus who is called the Christ?" They all said to him, "Let him be crucified." Then the governor said, "What evil has he done?" But they cried out all the more, saying, "Let him be crucified." When Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that a tumult was rising, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, "I am innocent of the blood of this such person. You see to it." And all the people answered and said, "His blood be on us and on our children." Then he released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified.